You think money through sex goes against God? I don't though. I don't think so at all. When you look at the definition for sin, especially when you look at the ancient Hebrew definition for sin, what it means is when you're trying to manifest something and you keep manifesting other things. Like when Adam got kicked out the garden, God says the ground won't yield to you and it'll bear thorns and thistles. That means like what you're trying to produce, it'll bear what you don't want. That's people who are stuck in the realm of not being able to manifest the life that they want. That's living in sin. When you know how to manifest the life that you want, you're living in right useness or righteousness. So it's two different things. So no, I don't think that making money through sex goes against God unless that's going against what you feel is right in your heart. Then you are sinning against yourself, and that's a sin. That's true sin. I've been drinking a little bit of tequila also. How do we give better BJs? I mean, toe curling, sheet gripping BJs. For me personally, it's not the head. I thought it was the head up until I learned my penis. It's more so the throat. Imagine the head being like what it's like after your clit is too sensitive after getting head, right? You just orgasm from head, now your clit too sensitive, don't touch it. That's kind of like what the helmet is like for me. The throat though, the throat is more like the clit beforehand. All right, that's the best way I can put it. Would you be able to continue your work if you are in a relationship? If so, how would you go about making your partner comfortable? Okay, so I wouldn't get into a relationship if I didn't feel as if I could be accepted for my actual self. It's not reducing myself so a person can accept me. It's this is who I am. You should get used to it. That's kind of how I look at it, and it's the same thing, vice versa. So yeah, I would continue because it's not work for me. It's not work to me. It's a purpose. It's a purpose, and my purpose is higher than everything, in my opinion. It's higher than what I actually want to do. That's how I see my purpose. It's higher than what I actually want to do. It's higher than trying to make people happy. It's higher than trying to make people comfortable. So yeah, I would still continue to do it. And I would try to challenge anyone in my life to try to evolve their way of seeing love and stuff like that. That's what I would do, personally. So do men go through the detachment process as women do? Yeah, but the only difference is typically when you're breaking up with a girl or something like that, what a woman is doing is telling you why you're making her life bad by not being with her. Those words continue to ring in your head when you're separated. Meanwhile, she's getting over you, but you're thinking in your head, as you're becoming a better person, oh man, now that I'm a better person, I should be with so-and-so who said that if I was just a better person, her life would be complete. And then you go back and it's like, first of all, you go back and she's like, first of all, nigga, I'm mad. And I'm going to make you feel that. I'm resentful and I'm going to make you pay for all the shit you did. Second of all, I don't want you no more. And that's kind of how it be. What does God mean to you? To me, God is spirit. That's what it says in the book. God is spirit. And all that worship him should worship him in spirit and truth. So it kind of gives it away. God is spirit. That's all spirit. Every one spirit is God. That's how I look at it. How to shorten the refractory period. Don't continue to stroke as you orgasm. That's the best way to shorten the refractory period. As soon as you start to orgasm, stop. Bro, I've been following you for your OnlyFans for 3 months and I'm still lost with a hip drop. When I say drop the hips, right? Imagine this. This is a woman. This is a woman. This is the vagina. You put your penis in like this, but you want to create tension against the ceiling, like when you're fingering a woman. When you're fingering a woman, you create tension against the ceiling like this. You want your dick to do the same thing. So you're going like this, and then you drop your hips so that there's a bend. That's all. That's all it is. You're standing at the edge of the bed like this, and then you drop your hips so that there's tension when you're doing like that. How can I make my dick grind against the roof of the vagina? You're trying to make it go up and into the ceiling like this. That can be based on positions by putting her on her back, putting her legs back, and then it's very easy to just hit it, real easy. And then instead of going in and out, you stay in one spot and you kind of move your hips like this so that it's moving around like this. It's very counterintuitive, and to us, we would think that shit ain't gonna work, but it worked. Do you believe women are the same as men in regards to cheating? In my opinion, we're human too. Women are human too, but our mating strategies are totally different. With women, you can get pregnant, so you should be seeking to get pregnant by the best. That's like your innate thing. The tallest, the strongest, the best, the attractive genes that you're able to procreate with someone that will probably fare well in society because of their asymmetrical face or whatever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it makes sense why women would be seeking the best or willing to share the best. All those things make sense, even though women get crucified for that. And also because women can have back-to-back orgasms and men typically can't. That means that women are built for multiple sex partners, but not like I'm gonna see you Monday, I'm gonna see you Tuesday. I'm talking about at the same time. That's what nature is. Nature has built women for multiple sex partners back to back. Also, because women moan during sex, the moans are made to attract other men. That's how you know women are built for multiple sex partners. Also, just like a cat or a dog, women can get pregnant by multiple males. It's like all these things show you that like the women's sexual thing is one thing versus what we try to protect it from, and all that type of shit. But the protection is very valid. We can get into that another time. But the cheating is basically men want to procreate with as many as possible because we're trying to, it's like when you walk a dog, the dog pisses on everything it can to mark its territory. It's the exact same thing. Imagine trying to teach a dog to not do that. That's its nature. How do you do that? How do you do that? You, as a pet owner, but not a pet trainer, how do you teach a dog not to mark its territory on everything that it can mark its territory on? It's its nature. No one had to teach it to do so. It just does that. You know what I mean? We want to procreate with as many women as possible. And though we have like condoms and stuff that allow us to more so practice with the sex, but that's our nature. If no one is teaching us how to overcome that shit, like it's kind of unfair to expect that to be the case. So the reason that we cheat is different. But yes, because we all cheat because monogamy is not necessarily a natural human institute. Let's talk money. Ask me a question. This is what I will say. Rich, the definition of rich, the word rich, when we think about rich, typically, it's an arbitrary thing. So when you ask someone, when does a person become rich? You ask 10 people, you'll find 10 different answers, maybe 9 different answers. You know what I mean? But it'll be like all different. You ask somebody, what is 2 plus 2? Everyone says 4. One of those things is called Babylon, and one of those things is an understanding. Like when we have the one understanding of the thing, then we're operating in righteousness, and then we know what to do. So this is what I will say. The word rich. Rich is when you don't have to work for money. That's the blanket term. When does that typically happen? Is when you have money working for you, and it's making enough money to pay your bills. When your passive income meets or exceeds your monthly expenses, you are rich. Not when you make $10,000 a month or $100,000 a year or $1 million in the bank or you're a millionaire. That's not rich. If you're a millionaire and your expenses exceed your income, you're fucking broke. It's the same thing. And then there's absolute wealth versus relative wealth and stuff like that too. Best way to make a woman orgasm from doggy style, aim down. Doggy style, this is her. And you're going in like this. You want to be up like this and aim down and pull out down and go in down, especially against the G-spot. That's the best way. What are some of your goals for 2023? Help a lot of people make money. This year I want to focus on helping people make passive income. Of course, we still teaching orgasms and shit. That shit on autopilot right now. I'm gonna help people learn branding so that they can take their brand from the fucking dirt to 150 followers, to however many followers they want. I want people who have a dream and a product that they want to sell and a mission. I want to help them fulfill that. But not if you got some regular shit. Because I'm going to tell you if your business is trash. I'm going to tell you if your business idea is trash. I'm going to tell you that. Because there's no need for you to try to sell something in a saturated market just because you want to make money, when I can tell you how to do something that is also fulfilling and making money at the same time. So that's the last thing I'll say about my goals for 2023. I'm going to tell you something, fellas. Nah, get you a woman that get turned on when she see you eat her food. You be straight after that. You be good. That's self-love. Last night I asked how you got to where you are, but I couldn't make the second live. When I was 25, I was in a relationship. I actually was like on and off with this girl, and she called me one morning. She texted me, I think, and I was like, let me get on the phone and talk to her because she was going through a bad time. I was the reason she was going through the bad time, but I was also the person she reached out to for comfort, ironically. So I'm on the phone with her at my job. Supervisor sees me, confronts me when I get off the phone. You can't do that. I'm trying to help a person I care about. They don't give a fuck about that. That was the last day I ever went to work. I just couldn't do it the next day. Like, I woke up the next morning, I couldn't do that shit. And I had to seek a way to make money outside of work. And I knew if somebody else was doing it, then I could do that shit too. Because only difference, it ain't, nothing makes them different from me except for knowledge. And that's what I figured. Once I got the same knowledge, then I know what to do. So that's what I sought, was the same knowledge that people who was doing it was doing. It took me 4 months to start making money. Not enough to live off of, but it took me 4 months to start generating income. My first year, I pretty much replaced my job income. I was working a minimum wage job that last year anyway, but I pretty much replaced that my first year with internet marketing. And, that allowed me to have enough time to do all the research about any question I ever had about life, and the time to practice and implement anything that I learned. Black don't crack, but it do mo. It do mo. Do you worry about contracting STDs? Of course I do. It scares the shit out of me. I just try to be safe as possible. Would you submit to a woman if she took care of you? No. What I think about fisting seems extreme. That's what I think about it. Do you prefer local relationships versus long distance? I like space. So distance in between time creates a better longing, a better appreciation. So maybe distance versus local. How long do you think it take a man to know if he wants something serious with a female? How long does it take? After the first time he loses her. That's what I would say. Look at that thing. She want me to eat this. She want me to eat this lava chicken. Can I have another paper towel, please? I don't say please. A paper towel, woman, now. Now, woman, a handkerchief. Expediently. Which way is the tension that causes orgasms? Which way? When you push out. Say you behind a woman, you're doing doggy style, right? And you're like, that's better. Typically, when you go out like this, you're pushing your pelvis out. You're, like skiing almost. Like you're pushing your pelvis out. I'm trying to think of an example. You're pushing your pelvis out. So the further out you go, when you do like that, you go as far as you can go, that's bad. That's going to make you come fast. You want to be able to do it enough that you got sensation, but you're not going to make yourself come. Like if you was to just stay perpendicular with the woman, she's bent like this, and you was just, you just got your penis and you're just going into her like this without moving your hips at all, you're just going in. And there's going to be less sensation. So that's what I mean. Hold up. I got to take another bite of this chicken on that note. Oh, shit. That shit is hot. What's the fastest I can make my bitch squirt? What's the fastest I can make my bitch squirt? Yeah. I got to read it in the accent that I assume. I assume he said it in. Say, man. Say, man, what's the fastest way I can make my bitch squirt, though? What's the fastest way to make my bitch squirt? My particular bitch. Gotta go. You're making me hot. You're making me hot. Is it hot or hot? Baby, 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 baby. High? Oh, shit. I just remixed it. Have you ever had to teach a woman what to do with her vagina? What to do with her vagina? Rate the food you just bit from 1 to 10. A 10? Which one is the best? 1 and 10. The 10. What would I consider a hoe or a whore? Today, a hoe is basically someone who is not really as discriminating against sexual partners as a woman would typically be seen as. So you're fucking like a man. And see, this is the thing. When women are saying, like, we're just as sexually liberated as men, you're not sexually liberated. That's men are fucking like that because we have no self-respect. No one has taught us innate value. If someone was to teach us that our bodies was a temple, if someone was to say, let's just say that we lived in a time where we like did the obelisk thing, right? So like the Washington Monument, the obelisk, and all these other places in Egypt and all that type of shit. If someone was to teach us phallic worship in that sense, your phallus is godly. It's like the obelisk, and that's what the thing is made after. That's what the Egyptians worshipped, and obelisks, and then it'd be different. And also, men are opportunistic when it comes to sex. If you ask a woman how many men you had sex with or whatever, you're not asking her how many men loved you and wanted to take care of you. That's not what you're asking. You're asking how many men convinced you to let them have sex with them so that they can get what they wanted. That's what you're asking when you're asking body count. So based on that number, that's how many times someone took advantage of you. That's how we're hearing it. Because we know that we are opportunistic when it comes to sex. And then when we care about a woman, now we're like, who hurt you? Who took advantage? And then we're basing you based off of those things. Before we cared, we are just as bad as the opportunists, right? But then when we care, now we're like, you should have never let those opportunistic men who didn't care about you, so that's really what it boiled down to on some real shit. What's the best asset to invest in? Man, that's a good question. Finally, a money question. The best thing to do is invest in your education on how to make passive income from the internet, because that's going to be the least amount of financial investment. If you have capital, it would be dividend stocks, but you'll have to recalibrate your mind because you could invest $1 million just to make 30 grand a year in passive income. So typically that doesn't make sense to people, but that's what it means to put your money to work. You're putting your money to work. Those park dollars are worthless compared to passive dollars. That $30,000 in passive income is equal to $1 million saved. Imagine that. But you can make $30,000 from the internet without ever having to invest $1 million. That's what I'm saying. So if you don't have capital, the best thing would be to invest in your education so that you can learn how to make passive income from the internet. How does one deal with shame of bring what God called to be, the difficulties of using your God-given power? Shame? Okay, this is what I say about shame. When you go to the Bible, right? When you go to, if you believe in God, that God, you go to Genesis 2, you go to the last verse, I think, of Genesis 2, it says the man and his wife, or the man and the woman, was naked and unashamed. And then in verse 3, it says, now the serpent was more subtle than all the beasts of the field, or something like that. And then that goes into a story of how Adam and Eve eat from the tree, and then they become ashamed. And then you see everything goes downhill from there, right? They were naked before God, before they even knew it. But then when they became aware of their nakedness, they became ashamed of it. And that caused a great void between them and God. God accepted them as their nakedness, right? According to the Bible, they were made naked. So that means that God made them naked. And that's something that they were ashamed of when they recognized it. According to the Bible, if they were made naked, it says that God made them in their image, in his image. So that means that they were made in the image of God. So their nakedness was in the image of God. But when they saw it, for some reason, they judged it as not good enough, even though they were in the garden with God all that time and he never told them to change. So that's what I say about shame. That's what helped me become much more efficient in all the things that I do. Cause high as a bitch? Not really. Shit, I could be way higher. I ain't get the bitch yet. How do you choose who you want to help? You have to be willing to have your session on camera. If you're willing to have your session on camera, then I'm willing to help. Because our session can then be used as a tutorial to help other women and other men to learn. So, yeah, that's typically what it is. Speak on the Bible's reference to man being able to create the life that he so desires. So remember, Adam get kicked out the garden, And it says, lest man reach out his arm and eat from the tree of life and live forever, let us remove him from the garden. So that's why he got kicked out the garden, so that he wouldn't have access to the tree of life. In Proverbs, it says that hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. So a tree of life is a desire fulfilled. Adam had access to the tree of life denied. That's the fall of man. Like, the fallen state of man is to not be able to manifest the life that you desire. That's why most people, in that sense, quote unquote, are living in sin, because they don't know how to manifest the life that they actually want. The word sin, in its truest form, just means miss the mark, and it's an archery farmer term. When you shoot the arrow, you're aiming for the bullseye, and however far you are away from the bullseye, that word is sin. So what you're aiming for, if you're not able to hit it accurately, you're in sin. And that typically comes because you don't know what to do. That's typically what it is. It means that it's some type of ignorance or some type of misunderstanding, or you don't know how you work as a human, so you're not able to adjust yourself correctly so that you're manifesting the life and the outcomes that you actually want versus consequences that you don't want to experience. That's really the difference. But Jesus said the principle on how to manifest, it says that believe that you have received it already. And I used to think about that all the time, because it's like, to define belief exactly what it is very hard, right? But belief is simply when, like, let me put it this way. To conjuring belief for the purpose of manifestation, belief is simply when you can use your own mind to create feeling in your body. So when you can use your own mind, we do this a lot, like when you fantasize the last sexual experience you had and then you get aroused. That's using your imagination to conjure belief. Because to your body, the reason that you had that response, the reason that you are getting aroused, is because your body believes that the experience you're imagining is actually happening. That's what belief is. When you've convinced your body, as far as manifestation goes, belief is when you've convinced your body that what you are imagining is actually happening. That's what belief is. That's how you believe you have received before you have received. Is because you can imagine the reality of having a thing and then feel it on a tangible level in your body, right? To the point where it is convinced that it has happened. When your body is convinced that something has happened and you have a tangible feeling like that, that means that it's been recorded up here as a memory in your neurons. And that's why the feeling happens. The feeling happens in order to color the experience so that it's easily accessible. So you can remember like your first heartbreak. You might remember your first love and stuff like that. They were emotional experiences, and they're heavily colored through emotion so that they're easy to access when you think about it. But how does one not miss the mark? It's a little confusing. How to not miss the mark is basically understanding how you work in order to achieve your desired goals. You know what I mean? So when you understand that, then it becomes easy to hit the mark. It becomes easy to manifest your desires. And what most people try to do, so like, all right, bet, yeah, that's why it's said that way. So the easiest way to put it is seek first the kingdom and not the things. That's what was said. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. If you seek first the things, then you act like a Gentile or a heathen, I think it says. And a heathen is a godless person. So it's a person that's not really attached to their spirit or don't understand that realm or whatever. So if you're acting like a heathen, then you use 3D stuff to create. If you seek first the kingdom is within. The kingdom is your imagination. So basically it's believing that you have received before you received it. So seek ye first the kingdom means to go within, experience it within until you have created a neural network that reflects that the experience has actually happened. That's what it actually means. If I'm putting it in this plain terms, that's what it means. Seek ye first the kingdom. When you want something, it means to go within, have the experience virtually over and over and over again until you have created a neural network, which is basically a memory of an event that has never even happened. right? So that's what you're doing, creating a memory of a future event. That's how you. That's because, all right. So bet. So when it comes to like farming, sin is when you're trying to get your ox to plow straight lines. So what you would do, like the word sin in the Bible, or the word mark, when it says miss the mark, the word mark in the Bible is, you don't even see it because it's not really translated into English, but it's a ox head, and then it's sticks that look like a cross, right? But the Hebrews didn't use crosses, so it wasn't like a Jesus Christ. But so you would take the ox to the mark so that you can create straight lines. So instead of just like freestyling with the ox and going up the field and then your lines look like this, and now your garden is all fucked up, instead you make a line here all the way up in the distance, like almost like hopscotch. And then you take the ox and you plow it. Now you have something to aim towards. So when you're creating a memory of a future event, that's like setting a mark in the distance. It's like putting a pin on a map or something like that so that you know where you're going. And you might deviate and shit like that, but you always know exactly where you're supposed to end up at. And because you understand what the mark is, you have that end goal vision, you can kind of tell when you're on and off purpose. You know what I mean? So that's when you know when you turn to the left or to the right, like I say. Don't turn to the left, to the right, walk the straight and narrow path or whatever. That's what it means, is to be focused on your purpose, be focused on your goal, and don't deviate from it. You have to have that future already created. Like you have to be the future self, whatever is like created through your imagination inside yourself. And then your subconscious goes to work to make that a reality, because the opposite of that is called insanity. So that's what your subconscious does, is its job is to make sure that you are sane. So what you feel on the inside, it has to make your outside match up. That's where self-sabotage comes, when you have self-hatred and shit like that. Same exact mechanism. If you think you aren't deserving, if you think you aren't deserving of love, if you think you aren't deserving of wealth, if that is a fixed belief inside of yourself, your subconscious job is to make sure that it's true all the time. And you see that like when you know, self-sabotaging in relationships, or when people like win the lottery and just get rid of all the money and shit. So you can ask yourself, you can just say right now, you can just, if you are real enough with yourself, you can just say certain things and then feel how you feel about it. Say, I am rich, and see if your body says bullshit. You'll know how you feel about money. I deserve to be wealthy. See if your body says bullshit, and you'll know how you actually feel about yourself. I deserve love, you know, and then really check in, really see what it says. You know what I mean? Why are women taught to suppress their sexuality while in church? How can you honor God while understanding? I mean, church is a certain type of thing. Church has its own type of rules and its own type of goal and its own type of mission. And because it has a vision that the people might not share, it has to constrain the people's behaviors with rules and stuff. So, you know, that's why church would do that. Now, outside of church, how can you honor God while understanding more about our bodies? Make sure that you're not saying yes when you mean no. Make sure that you are not being adventurous just because everybody else is doing it. As if everybody else is doing self-care correctly. You know what I mean? Just because they are being adventurous doesn't mean that they are loving to themselves in that being adventurous shit. So if everyone else isn't, so if you don't know if people are going to be, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So don't just be adventurous because you think you're missing out on stuff. Because a lot of times that will have you betraying yourself on some real shit. Never betray yourself. Never say yes when you mean no. And a lot of times you'll take care of yourself. That's really what it boils down to. Don't be people pleasing when it comes to your own well-being. I can never come from head. That sucks. No pun intended. How do you get rid of pre-ejaculation? The problem with premature ejaculation is that once you come, you're not having sex anymore with the woman. So instead of prematurely ejaculating, stop before you feel like you can't have sex anymore. Stop before you feel like you're about to come. Stop. Wait 10, 15, 20 minutes, then have sex again. And then stop. No matter how short it is, just stop. And just have sex again when you feel like it again, and then stop. It'll be better for her to continually have sex that way than for you to just give her one short span of sex and that's it for the day. But as you're doing that, you'll start to learn how to balance things as you're doing it. You know what I mean? You'll be teaching your body that crossing the line is not the goal. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. I will take this live and post it on one of my YouTube channels and then let y'all know. I might chop this down into small clips and shit. But I got you. I'm going to say this live. I'll see y'all in the next one, man. I appreciate y'all spending time with me. All right, peace.